it's me, Jamie-Lynn. Today I'm going to be doing a video of 5 crafts that you can do at home when you're bored. I hope you guys learned something from this video and I hope you guys enjoy these crafts that we're going to do today. Let's get started. Okay, so the first craft that I'm going to be doing today is going to be some storage boxes. Now I've just got some cardboard boxes that are kind of already in a shape that I'd like for us to do our storage boxes in. So I'm just going to get some scissors and I'm going to just basically cut this in half and then we can get it to the right shape that we want it afterwards. Let's go. Lovely. And I'm going to do the exact same with the other one. Perfect. So now we have 2 boxes already, and just because these ends are open, I'm going to get my hot glue gun out and I'm just going to fix those ends up so they can be the bottom of our storage boxes.
So as you can see here, just because the ends of my box is open, I'm just getting my hot glue gun out and I'm just going to put glue all over the ends just to make sure it's all neat and tidy so that we can actually have a bottom to my storage boxes. If you don't have this type of cardboard at home, you can make your own boxes. It's entirely up to you what kind of size box you use because it depends what kind of storage pots you want. If you're going to make your own cardboard boxes, then definitely use a hot glue gun. If you're using a box that's already quite sturdy, then you don't really have to worry too much about what glue you use as long as it sticks. I'm using hot glue because that's what I have to hand. Because my storage pots are a little bit bigger than I wanted them, I'm just going to go ahead and chop the tops off of them and make them all the same size.
Okay, so now I've got all of those fixed up, I'm just going to go ahead and paint them.
Now I've got my paints here. I'm using acrylic paints for this, but again you can use any kind of paints that you have at home as long as it covers your cardboard. And I've mixed some purple colours here, so I'm using the blue and the red paints and I'm making a purple colour. I'm also mixing it with white so that I get a different purple for every box. I want to make it a gradient. So now that the outside's all painted, we need to remember to paint the insides. We just want to make sure that if we take a look at them, they look really pretty from the inside and out. Now I'm just going to show you a few ways of how you can glue together your storage pots. Now you can do them in a square like so. Or you can have them in one line. You can make any sort of shape you want really. As long as it sticks together, it doesn't really matter. You can make this as creative as you want. Now I'm just going to stick with a straight line because I want to make sure that the gradient really stands out in my storage pots today. Now I'm just getting my hot glue gun out again and gluing the sides together so that I can stick them in the shape that I want. Now again, it doesn't really matter what glue you have at home, as long as it sticks them together, that's absolutely fine. If you're working with hot glue, then be very careful not to burn yourself, but if you're working with anything like PVA, you just need to make sure that it's going to stick well, and it might take a little bit longer to dry than my hot glue. I'm just going to keep adding the boxes on until it gets to the shape that I want. And there we are, perfect. It's all glued together and it's all in a straight line showing my gradient. It's definitely going to be handy to put all of my art supplies in. So next I'm going to show you how to make bows. Now this is a really simple technique that doesn't need much. All you need is different colour ribbon. I prefer to use quite thick ribbon for this, but it doesn't matter too much. Now you want to cut quite a long piece of ribbon for this, but you can see a bit later in the video how much. So what we need to do first is just hold it in our hands like so. So our thumb is holding onto the ribbon and we're going to trace the ribbon round the back of our hand, over the front of our hand, making sure that our thumb's holding both of those ribbons, but we're also making sure that our fingers that we're wrapping it around are quite loose. And I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it around another time, and this just adds to the bow a little bit. Now keep your thumb firmly on there. We're just going to tuck the rest of the ribbon through the bottom hole in the middle of our hands, like so. And we're going to pull it all the way through, as you can see here. So it has to make sure that it goes through the middle. Now we bring it up at the back and we're going to kind of try to tie a knot into the bit that we've just tucked in through. I hope you can see here. This bit's a bit tricky, but I'm sure you'll get the hang of it. Now we just pull it tight and it makes quite a nice knot. Pull it as tight as you can, but make sure you give a little bit of room because we need to now slide it off of our fingers. Perfect. So as you can see, the amount of times that you can wrap it around your hand, it makes the bow slightly bigger and it adds more frills to the side of the bows. Now what I like to do now is just add an additional tie to the back just to make sure that it doesn't come loose. And there we are, we have our bow. We can just tease the sides out a little bit there, and I'm just going to go ahead and get some scissors and cut the bottom to make it look really pretty. And there we have it, a nice pink bow. Really simple once you get the hang of it. I'm just going to show you again with a different colour. So we take the ribbon, we place it in our thumb. We wrap it around our hands as many times as you like, remembering to keep our fingers quite loose so it's easy to get off afterwards. We pop it through the middle there, all the way through, and we lift it up behind. We bring it back forward and tuck it through to create a knot, and we pull it tight. After that, we can carefully slide it off of our fingers. Perfect, and we can add an additional knot in the back to make sure it doesn't come loose. And we can make the ends look pretty just with our scissors, cutting those ends off. Once you get the hang of it, they don't take a lot of time to make, and you can use these anywhere you like. They're so pretty. You can make them as big or as small as you like. Perfect. And now we have two bows. The next craft I'm going to show you here is how to make wall hangings from things you might have at home. Now I've just got a piece of cardboard here and I'm going to draw a design on. You need to make sure that this is a fairly big design because of our next step. And after you've cut out your design, I need you to go ahead and cut out the middle too. Now this is quite tricky. Be careful and be patient with yourself. Lovely, now that's all cut out. I'm just going to get some string here and I'm just going to glue it onto the back of my cardboard heart. Now if you don't have any wool or string or ribbon that you can use at home, you can just paint this, or you can use colouring pens and decorate it yourself however you like. But today I'm using wool, so I'm going to show you how to wrap that around and make it look really pretty to hang on our wall. I'm just going to go ahead and start wrapping it around. This gives it a really vintage, authentic look. Now when you've nearly run out of string, I just glued that little bit of string on the back there and I add a new piece of string. You don't want your string to be too long, otherwise it might get knotted and it doesn't wrap around so easily. So I found it better to use smaller pieces of wool and just glue it at the back and restart with a new piece of wool. It doesn't matter how many times you do this, as long as you make sure that the glue is at the back of the wall hanging so it doesn't show. Now that's all done, I'm just going to get a bit of extra wool here and just glue it onto the back to make sure that we have something to hang it up with. I've also made another tiny heart here in a different colour and I just want to add it on. So as I said before, you can use any shapes and any sizes you like and I'm sure they will look amazing. I'm just using a small piece of wool here to glue them together so that when I hang them up, they hang beautifully. And there you are. My wall hanging is all finished. Okay, so now I'm moving on to my dream catcher craft here. I'm using a similar technique to the previous craft. I've just cut out a circle shape here for my dream catcher. And I'm selecting my wool and just cutting off a good amount. And we're going to use the same technique as I did with the wall hanging, and I'm just going to glue that on there and start wrapping it around. Okay, so now that's all wrapped around, I have a little bit of spare wool at the top here, so I'm just going to glue that down so that we have something to hang this up with. Now I'm selecting a different colour wool for this, and I'm just putting it through the middle there and tying it up so it's all tight in a knot. If you don't want to knot the string, you can glue it, it's completely up to you. Now that's all neat in the middle there, I just want to make 5 little lines. As you can see here, I'm tucking the string back around and starting a new line. So we have to make sure there's 5 of those for this design. And once we've finished that, we've got to make sure that there's 5 lines. If they're not in the right place, because they're not tight in, you can move them around if you like. Make sure that it's perfect for you. And we're going to start on our star shape. Now to do this, I'm using the same colour wool as I did for the 5 lines. And we're just making new lines. So where we have our previous lines, we're going to skip one and move our line to the second knot there. Just try to follow my lead and it will make sense. And you keep doing that all the way around until you get back to the top. And there we have it, there's our star shape. Perfect. Now I'm just going to secure this with a knot, but again you can use glue if you'd prefer. And there's our top bit of the dream catcher all finished. And now we can move on to the bottom half. So for this I'm just using little bits and pieces that I have at home. Now I've got some wool here that I'm going to use. I've got different colours and I have 3 strings. I'm just going to wrap it round, tie it at the back, and I'm going to plait it all the way down. Next I've just tied another piece of white string and I've got some beads that I found, and I'm just going to put those on one piece of the string. And I'm going to attach a feather to the other piece of string. Now to do this I've just used my hot glue gun again. You can use any glue you like, or you can just tie it in a knot. It's completely up to you if you have these at home. Now I'm doing the same on the other side. I'm just adding some more beads and I'm also adding another different colour feather. Now I've just got some white string and I'm just tying that up on the side to make some small tassels. Now I'm just tidying up the ends of those as well to make them look all pretty and neat. Now I found this big diamond gem at home and I've just attached it to a piece of pink wool, and I'm going to tie that on as well. This is a really easy craft to do at home because you can just use anything you have at home. I'm just popping some beads on my tassels there to make them look a little bit neater. And my dream catcher is all finished. I hope you guys like it, and if you do anything like it at home, please let me know in the comments below. Now I'm going to show you a slightly different style dream catcher that I also done. So I've used the same technique as before. I've cut out a big circle and I've also done a small circle. Now you can put the small circle in the middle of the big circle, or you can do as I'm doing and putting it slightly to the side. Now I've just got some different colour wool and I'm gluing it onto the small circle, and I'm just going to start wrapping it around. Now we're going for a slightly different style here. So I've wrapped it around the small circle and I'm wrapping it around the outside of the big circle. I'm going back to the small circle and back around the big circle, and I'm going to keep doing this until it's all the way around. Now because this wool is not tight around, we can move it to wherever we want to add more or less. Now just to secure those, I am going to hot glue the back just to make sure that they don't move. This is a step that you don't have to take at home, but I'd like to for my dream catcher today. And I'm just going to trim up the edges, and that's the top of our dream catcher all finished. To finish this off, I'm just going to add the maroon colour wool at the bottom, and I'm just going to make some tassels. Now you'll see at the end of the video what I've done for this, but again you can use anything you have at home to make it look pretty. And last but not least, the final craft that I'm going to be doing with you today is how to make your own little notebook or colouring book. Now this is a really simple craft and it's probably my favourite. I just have an old notebook that has no pages left in it. I've torn them all out and I've printed off some colouring pages that I'm going to stick in there. So what I'm doing now is I'm just cutting a piece of cardboard to the correct size for the back of my notebook. And just making sure that it fits. And I'm going to put my notebook to the side for now, because I'm going to stick all of my pages onto the cardboard. Now to do this, I'm just making a small lip at the top. I used scissors to help me, but you can just do this with your fingers, or if you want to score the cardboard then you can. Just to make a little lip there. And once you've finished that, you want to make sure that all of the pages that you have fit up against that back of the cardboard and that top lip. It's better to keep the top lip a little bit bigger, just in case. Now I'm going to get my hot glue gun out and I'm just going to put hot glue on the top of the lip to make sure that the pages I've printed out will stick. Now you can use any glue for this at home, but you will have to be patient with yourself if it's not hot glue, because it may not stick straight away. It may need some time to dry. So I'm using colouring pages for this, but you don't have to use colouring pages. You can use usual notebook pages, lined paper or plain paper, whatever you prefer, to make it a really personalised notebook for you. You can use old colouring sheets from old colouring books if you like, and just cut them all out to the right size. If you do this at home, definitely give me a comment in the section below, because I really want to know what you did to make your notebook. If you don't have an old notebook at home, you can just leave the front page blank and colour it in however you like, and it still makes it a really good notebook. Now I've stuck my pages against the lip and the hot glue gun there. And once that's dried, I can just cut the top of the lip just to neaten it up a little bit there. Now if you don't have an old notebook, you can just use some more cardboard to put on the front of your page so that you make your own little notebook from scratch. Now you can design the front cover however you like. Now the next step I'm going to do here is just get my notebook back, and I'm going to stick those pages in. I'm just making sure they fit in first, because if they don't I can trim up the edges, but it seems to be perfect. And I'm just going to put hot glue gun all over the back and stick it down to the back of the notebook. Again, if you're using any sort of other glue, you will have to be patient. Make sure it sticks and dries. Perfect, my colouring pages are all finished in my nice new notebook. This is a really simple and easy craft to do, and it's so much fun.
Go through what we've done today. So first of all, I've got my little storage pots. Now I just did a purple gradient on these, and I've put all of my art supplies in there, but you know, you can put whatever you want inside your storage pots, and they look really cute. So that's the first one. Next I've done my bows. So these are really handy because you can use these for anything. I mean, you can put them on top of presents to make them look pretty. You can tie a string around and put them around your storage pots or anything like that. Also put a little hair clip in there and pop it in your hair. That makes it look really pretty. So you can use these for anything, and they're so simple to make. So next I've got my wall hanging. So as you can see here, I've just done 2 hearts. But you can do any shape, any size you like, any colours, and they just brighten up any room that you go into and you hang these into. So I hope you guys liked this craft, and I'm definitely going to make more of these to put around my house. Next I've got my dream catchers. Now this is the one that I made on camera for you. So I just used this with cardboard and wool and string and anything I had lying around the house to make it look pretty. A few beads on there, some feathers. You know, you can use anything you have around the house to make this look beautiful. Now I'm just going to show you the one that I did off camera. This was slightly easier because I just used cardboard and wool for this one. I just made loads of tassels and it still looks so beautiful. So definitely do this at home because it's a great craft, I think, anyway. Perfect, now we're on to the 5th and final craft, which is probably my favourite. I've got my little notebook here, so I made this into a colouring book. I've just got an old notebook with no pages in it, and I made it my own. This is a great craft to do because it's so personal. You can put anything you want in it. You know, you can use colouring papers. I mean, I just printed mine off. There's loads of printables out there that you can find. Or you can use an old colouring book that maybe is half coloured in, that you want to make new again. Or you can just put lined paper in there, or plain paper if you're into drawing, anything like that. And it's really personalised and so much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and definitely subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos like this one. And definitely check out my other videos. So you can see what I've been up to in the past couple of weeks. Thank you so much for watching. Bye my little penguins.